Hi babes! So I'm making this video a little bit different than usual, meaning that it's an educational makeup video. Now what's that mean? That means that, so this month, it's June, which is Pride Month, and May is Veterans Month, and July is Plastic Free July. You get what I'm saying here? So each month, on around the first week of the month, I know it's not the first week of the month for June, but I'm gonna start doing it. I'm gonna post a video explaining what that month's recognition is, and I'm gonna try and make it a fundraiser. I don't know how to do that, but I'm gonna try, and I'm gonna educate you guys on the topic, do a representation of the topic, whether that's asking people about their experiences, doing a makeup look, or just chatting to you guys face to face for a minute or two. So I did this omnisexual pride makeup look because I myself am omnisexual, and I'm going to educate you guys on queer history. And I'm not just going to talk about stuff that's happening modern day. I'm going to talk about the history behind being gay. Okay, I hope you guys like the video so much. Love ya! Alright, so I already have my base makeup done, and I was toying back and forth on whether I should do just a rainbow look or something that showcases like most pride flags, but in the end I went for something that represents me. I've never really like self-identified with anything in particular, but like if I really had to pick something, I guess like 𝒷𝑜𝓇𝓾𝓮𝓪𝓭 would be the thing for me. And like I even have an omnisexual flag in my bedroom, even though I have more pride flags. So 𝒷𝑜𝓇𝓾𝓮𝓪𝓭 means having romantic attraction towards all genders with a preference towards few, but only having a sexual attraction towards some genders, especially if you have a strong emotional connection towards that person. Alright, so I have the flag up on screen on like what this makeup look is inspired by. So now let's start talking about queer history. In the early 1950s, the women's suffrage movement had begun. And what that basically means is women wanted the right to vote. Although it had often been that queer women weren't allowed to vote even after they got suffrage, which is weird because a lot of the people who helped pioneer the women's suffrage movement were in same-sex relationships. In the 1950s, during the Cold War, the Lavender Scare happened, where thousands of LGBTQIA+ people were fired from their government jobs simply for being gay, although there were still quite a bit of people who are still brave enough to speak up and use their voices against the government. And then in June 1969, the Stonewall riots broke out. The Stonewall riots happened because police raided a gay bar in the New York City community. It was a queer street where everybody was free to be themselves, although being gay then was still illegal. Among the people being persecuted during these riots was Marsha P. Johnson, a trans black woman who was also an activist and a drag queen. The way that she was an activist wasn't with changing policies or with her voice. It was bricks. She threw bricks at police officers. The first Pride March happened 1 year later, in 1970. But it wasn't a parade, it was a protest. An act to be seen and to be heard. But then, a few years later, the AIDS crisis developed, and the queer community was persecuted just for being who they were. Groups like ACT UP demeaned the queer community and didn't provide aid to queer lovers and families being impacted by this disease, and they had to suffer in silence until some of them eventually died from this disease. And the fight's still going on today for trans equality, healthcare, and protection from violence. With every win, it seems like there's a loss in the queer community, but we still have to acknowledge every single win that we've had. The right to marriage, the right to vote, building equality, and a safe place for queer kids to live in America. Modern day, the most important group to protect and think about are queer children, although queer children is a heavily televised and controversial topic for some reason. But personally, I think protecting children shouldn't be a controversial topic. Nowadays, we have groups like 𝓟𝓵 Project, which will provide free healthcare support, free access to gender-affirming equipment such as tuckers or binders, and they even have free therapy and counselors that anyone can use, queer or not, at any time of the day or night. I know you can use it in the US, but I'm not sure. Do research on it. And that's why I'm going to try and make this video a fundraiser for 𝓟𝓵 Project, because personally, 𝓟𝓵 Project has helped me when I was in very low places in my life. and I'm not sure that they get enough recognition that they need. And with that being said, through the month of June, every like that this video gets, I'll be personally donating $1 to Trevor Project as an attempt to help the transgender and queer children who can't be out publicly to their parents or family, to help give them aid and support in a very confusing and hard time in their life. And I know that you're all super loving and accepting, so I hope you guys can throw a few dollars towards this community, and it's totally fine if you can't or if you're not in the right space to do that right now. I love you, babes, so much. Thank you for listening to Queer History with me. Alright, babes, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you learned a thing or two, and comment down below what I should do next for the month of July. July is Mental Health Awareness Month and Plastic Free July and Global Climate Change Awareness Month. That's what I know off the top of my head. And comment any ideas on what I should do, and like this video. It really helps out the channel, and tell me what you guys thought. I love you so much. Bye bye.